Hey guys, today we're going to go through a step-by-step process to verify that your Corvette is numbers matching. So what does numbers matching mean? Numbers matching basically means that the serial number for the car matches the serial number that is stamped on the engine. So first thing I want you to do is to purchase this. This is called the Corvette Black Book. This has all the information you'll ever want to know about classic Corvettes. It'll give you which engine options were available in your car, tell you transmission options, production numbers. It'll give you location of information like paint codes, VIN numbers. So anyways, this is about 20 bucks, worth every penny, okay? So again, first I'm going to outline, give you a little summary of what we're going to do. So step one will be to locate the engine stamp pad, and I'll show you where that is in a minute. So that's step one. Locate that, write down the numbers. There's two sets of numbers on there. Step two will be to verify that the engine, the VIN number that's stamped on the engine pad matches the VIN number of your car. So on early C1 cars, the VIN number is on the It's under here. It's on the door post. On later C1 cars, it is on the steering column. So I think that was from 1960 to 1962. For C2 Corvettes, there's basically underneath the glove box, there's a little frame, and the VIN number is on a little plate there. Starting in 1968 and later, it's basically it's up here on the windshield right above the dash, and that was so actually police officers could verify it when they pulled you over. Step three will be to verify that the engine suffix code is correct for your car, and you'll get that suffix code from the Corvette Black Book, and I'll show you that. Okay, in step four, we are going to make sure that the engine manufacturing date precedes the car assembly date. So the date the engine was manufactured needs to be before the car was put together. Step five, we are going to verify that the casting number of the block is correct. In step six, we are going to make sure that the casting date of the engine block precedes the engine manufacturing date, which is before the car assembly date. All these dates are important because if these dates don't match up, then it's possible that somebody forged something. That brings me to the last thing. We're going to talk about forgeries a little bit. With these cars, there's a lot of money in a matching numbers car. So if you have a C2 car that's a big block car, maybe you think you have an L88 car or something like that, to be matching numbers and original makes it the most valuable. And there's a lot of people out there that do unscrupulous things, and I'm going to show you some of the things to watch out for. All right, so let's get started. So behind me, we have my car. It's a 1966 Corvette 327, 300 horsepower, 4-speed car, convertible. We're going to use that as an example, and I'm going to go through the step-by-step process to verify that it's numbers matching. So first, we'll come over here. All right, so this is the passenger side of the car. And this might be a little bit hard to see, but we're going to try to get in there. Basically, so here's the cylinder head, valve cover, but this is the stamp pad, and there's two sets of numbers there. You can see that first set right there. Let me see if I can get in there. You can see. Unfortunately, this there's a fuel filter in the way, but you can see the stamp code. And first, what I want you to do is I want you to write down those numbers. All right, again, so write down the numbers of your car that are on the pad. There's going to be two sets of numbers. write those down, and I'm going to write down these numbers and we'll go through exactly what you need to know. Okay, this is step 2. So we are going to make sure that the VIN number of the car matches the VIN number of the engine. So here's the 2 sets of numbers that were on the engine stamp pad. So this first number right here is 6/122/874. Now that 6 means it's a 1966 Corvette, and then these next 6 numbers, that's the actual VIN number of the car. So these are the numbers off of the engine. So that means it's number 122/874. And then these are the other numbers, F0517HE, and we'll get to those in a minute. So this number here is the actual VIN number of the car. That is the number, the VIN number that is on the, I said for a C2, there's a little pad, a little plate that's under the glove box, depending on what your car. Again, C1s, C2s, and C3s are in different spots. Okay, so the next step is we are going to verify the engine suffix code. So again, I have my Corvette Black Book here. I'm going to open up to 1966. And if you look at this, there is quite a bit of information here. So right here is the engine suffix codes. If you look at, so 327 cubic inch, 300 horsepower, manual transmission. There's also this this AR, which is an air injector. This car does not have one. So it should have an HE code. So over here, again, these are the numbers that are written down on our car that we wrote down. Here's the VIN numbers over here. But here is an F0517HE. So this second set of numbers, this F, that means it was made in Flint, Michigan. Engines were either made in Flint or in a V, or maybe possibly a T would be Tonawanda, New York. But this is a small block engine. At the time it was made in Flint, so that's what the F is. The 0517 is actually the date, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But this next thing here is the engine suffix code. So it's HE is stamped on the block. According to the Corvette Black Book, it should have an HE code. So far our VIN number, which is over here, matches the car, and our engine suffix code also matches what it's supposed to have. Okay, step 4. Verify engine manufacture date is before car assembly date. So how do we do that? So if you look here, again, this is our VIN number, the 6/122/874, and over here, this F0517HE. The 0517 is the engine manufacture date. So this engine was made on May 17th, 1966. So how do we figure out when the car was made? Here is the Corvette Black Book. Again, open up to 1966 Corvette, ending vehicle. The last car made in April 1966 was number 120664, and the last car made in May of 1966 was 123016. So I wrote down last VIN of April was 120664, last VIN of May was 123016. Our car is number 122874. So this is saying that it's real close to the end of May. So the last one, say May 31st, was 123. So this is late May. Our engine manufacturing date was May 17th. So it's probably a week or two before the car was made, which makes sense. Now there's some anomalies, they might have had an engine laying around, but there's no way that that engine manufacturing date can be after the car assembly date. So if that's the case, that's definitely a red flag. Okay, up next is step 5 to verify the casting number of the engine block. So where do we find that and how do we do that? Let me show you. So if you're looking at the car, the casting number on the block is driver's side in the back here, kind of behind this valve cover. So I have a light in there, and let me zoom in. So there you can see it nice and good. 3858174. So we're going to compare that to the Corvette Black Book and we'll see if it matches. So I wrote down the casting number that's on the block is 3858174. How do we figure out what it's supposed to have? Again, go to your Corvette Black Book. 1966. Here's the block. 3858174. So that matches. So far everything matches. Okay, step 6 will be to verify the engine block casting date. So let me show you where that is located. So we want to come over to the passenger side of the car. It's kind of hard to see in there, but basically there's right here, it's a raised, sorry about that guys, it's a raised letter and some numbers, and I wrote them down over here. So here is step 6, verify engine block casting date precedes the block assembly date. So the raised letters are E116. So E stands for the 5th month of the year. So A, B, C, D, E. So E would be May. The 11 is the day of the week, or day of the month, sorry. The 11th, and then the 6th would be 1966. So this block was cast on May 11th, 1966. And the assembly date, I think, what was it? The 17th, May 17th, 66. And then the car we think is late May of 66. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is forgeries, okay? Sometimes these guys are very skilled at making a forgery, and what they would be doing is they would be stamping the numbers into that, the pad, okay? But again, that's another reason why you want to check all the dates. So again, the block casting date needs to precede the engine assembly date and before the car assembly date. And some people do, and they would have to find a block that had the correct date on it. Again, but let me show you one thing that you want to look for, okay? And I kind of drew a picture of it. So here is here's a representation I wrote of the engine stamp, okay? The pad on the engine. So this would be the correct, what I'm going to call broach marks. This is something you want to look for. So the way a broach works, it's a tool that the factory would have used that would have planed the surface of the block. And the tool marks would be straight marks here. That's what I'm trying to show you here. Now, if a block was, if somebody tried to forge it, they would have to deck the block. And what they would do is they would use a mill and would create circular tool marks. And these are, sometimes they're very hard to see. So you might want to get a magnifying glass and really take a close look at it. But if you see straight marks, those are marks, broach marks from the factory. That's what it should look like. If you see some swirling action, some tool marks, then that could mean that the block was decked and somebody restamped these numbers, okay? Okay guys, I hope that was helpful. Again, the most important thing is that the block is the original block to your car and that the VIN number matches. And again, go through that step-by-step process. That would make it the most valuable. Somebody tells you it's numbers matching, that's something that cannot be fixed if it's not. You know, the other stuff you can go through in the black book, you know, the distributor, carburetor, The head casting numbers, you know, if somebody cracked a head, they could replace it. You could purchase, you know, a used head and make it numbers matching still, as long as the casting numbers are correct. But you cannot, once the block is cracked or broken or damaged, you cannot replace it, cannot be fixed, is no longer numbers matching. So hope this video was helpful. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.